The Many Wives and Reign of Henry VIII. Henry VIII's reign was a transformative period in English history, marked by significant political, religious, and social changes. His decisions reshaped the nation, laying the foundations for modern Britain. Known for his 6 marriages and the establishment of the Church of England, his legacy remains both influential and controversial. Born in 1491, Henry VIII was the second son of Henry VII. He was not initially expected to rule, but the death of his elder brother Arthur changed his destiny. Ascending to the throne in 1509, Henry brought with him a vibrant court life and a keen interest in arts and sports. Henry's marriage to Catherine of Aragon, his brother's widow, was both a political alliance and a deeply personal union. The marriage faced challenges, particularly due to Catherine's failure to produce a surviving male heir. Despite their initial affection, the lack of a son strained their relationship over time. Desperate for a male heir to secure his dynasty, Henry's quest became an obsession. This pursuit influenced many of his decisions, including his multiple marriages and eventual break with the Catholic Church. The pressure to produce a male successor drove much of his personal and political life. Cardinal Wolsey was Henry VIII's chief advisor and a key figure in his administration. Wolsey's influence was vast, managing many aspects of the kingdom's affairs. However, his failure to secure an annulment for Henry's marriage to Catherine of Aragon led to his downfall, marking a significant turning point in Henry's reign. Henry VIII's break with the Catholic Church was driven by his desire for an annulment from Catherine of Aragon, which Pope Clement VII refused. This rejection led Henry to sever ties with Rome, initiating the English Reformation and asserting his authority over religious matters in England. The establishment of the Church of England marked a profound shift in religious power. Henry VIII declared himself the supreme head of the Church, effectively eliminating papal influence. This move not only resolved his marital dilemma, but also consolidated his control over both state and church, altering England's religious landscape. Henry's marriage to Anne Boleyn followed the creation of the Church of England. Their union was pivotal, as Anne was a key supporter of the Reformation. However, their relationship was tumultuous, and Anne's inability to produce a male heir added strain, setting the stage for future political and personal conflicts. The birth of Elizabeth. It was a significant yet bittersweet event for Henry. Although disappointed that Anne Boleyn bore a daughter, Elizabeth would later become one of England's greatest monarchs. Her birth temporarily secured Anne's position, but did not fulfill Henry's deep-seated desire for a male successor. Anne Boleyn's fall from grace was swift and brutal. Accused of adultery, treason, and incest, she was imprisoned and executed. Her downfall was orchestrated by Henry and his advisors, who sought to remove her influence and clear the way for another marriage, continuing his quest for a male heir. Anne Boleyn's fall was swift and dramatic. Once a favored queen, she faced charges of adultery, incest, and treason. Despite her protests of innocence, Anne was tried and found guilty. Her marriage to Henry VIII was annulled, and she was executed at the Tower of London in May 1536. After Anne's execution, Henry quickly married Jane Seymour. Jane was considered a calming influence on the king. She provided Henry with the long-desired male heir, Edward VI, in October 1537. Tragically, Jane died shortly after childbirth, leaving Henry grief-stricken but grateful for his son. Henry's search for a new wife led to negotiations with Anne of Cleves. This political alliance aimed to strengthen ties with German Protestant princes. However, Henry found Anne unattractive, famously referring to her as the Flanders mare. The marriage was never consummated and was annulled after just 6 months. Henry's brief marriage to Anne of Cleves ended amicably. She was given a generous settlement and treated with respect, even becoming known as the king's beloved sister. Their brief union, though politically motivated, was marked by a rare instance of mutual respect and financial security for Anne. Henry's marriage to Catherine Howard followed Anne of Cleves. Catherine's youthful exuberance initially captivated Henry, but her past indiscretions and alleged infidelities soon led to her downfall. Found guilty of treason, Catherine was executed in February 1542, marking another tragic end to Henry's quest for marital satisfaction. Henry VIII's marriage to Anne of Cleves was brief and politically motivated. Seeking a strategic alliance, he was disappointed upon meeting her. Their marriage was annulled after just 6 months, with Anne receiving a generous settlement and maintaining a cordial relationship with Henry, who referred to her as his sister. Following his annulment from Anne of Cleves, Henry VIII married the young and vivacious Catherine Howard. However, Catherine's infidelity led to her tragic downfall. Accused of adultery, she was executed at the Tower of London. This marked a tumultuous period in Henry's personal life and reign. Henry's final marriage was to Catherine Parr, a twice-widowed noblewoman. Catherine Parr outlived Henry, becoming a stabilizing force in his later years. Her influence extended to the royal children, promoting education and religious reform. She played a crucial role in maintaining unity within the increasingly fractured Tudor court. In his later years, Henry VIII's health deteriorated significantly. Afflicted by obesity and painful leg ulcers, he became increasingly reclusive and paranoid. These health issues profoundly affected his mood and decision-making, contributing to the harsh and erratic nature of his rule during this period. The Reformation had a lasting impact on England under Henry VIII's reign. By breaking away from the Catholic Church and establishing the Church of England, Henry fundamentally altered religious and political structures. This shift not only changed ecclesiastical allegiances, but also set the stage for future religious conflicts and reforms. Henry VIII's Reformation significantly altered England's religious landscape. By severing ties with the Catholic Church, he established the Church of England, asserting royal supremacy over religious matters. This shift empowered the monarchy, diminished papal influence, and set the stage for profound theological and cultural changes within the nation. Henry's foreign policy was characterized by a series of strategic alliances and conflicts aimed at bolstering England's position in Europe. His ambitions led to wars with France and shifting alliances with Spain and the Holy Roman Empire. These efforts were costly, but aimed to enhance England's prestige and territorial influence. Relations with Scotland were tumultuous during Henry VIII's reign. His attempts to assert dominance over Scotland included military campaigns and diplomatic maneuvers. The Battle of Flodden in 1513 was a significant conflict, resulting in a decisive English victory, but failing to secure long-term peace or control over Scotland. Henry's relations with France oscillated between hostility and alliance. His ambitious campaigns, including the Battle of the Spurs, aimed to claim French territory and assert English power. Despite occasional successes, these ventures often strained England's finances and did not yield substantial territorial gains, reflecting the complex nature of European politics. The Pilgrimage of Grace was a significant uprising in 1536 against Henry's religious reforms and dissolution of monasteries. This rebellion, predominantly in northern England, saw thousands protest the king's policies. Though ultimately suppressed, it highlighted widespread discontent and resistance to the drastic changes imposed by Henry's Reformation policies. Henry VIII's financial policies were marked by an aggressive approach to revenue generation. He dissolved the monasteries, seizing their wealth and lands, which significantly bolstered the royal treasury. Additionally, Henry debased the currency, leading to inflation, but providing short-term financial relief to fund his military campaigns and lavish court. Henry VIII's legacy is multifaceted, altering the religious, political, and cultural landscape of England. His establishment of the Church of England broke the Catholic Church's power, paving the way for Protestantism. His reign also centralized royal authority, setting a precedent for future monarchs and shaping the modern British state. Henry VIII has been a compelling figure in literature and media, depicted as both a tyrant and a reformer. His tumultuous reign, marked by multiple marriages and political intrigue, has inspired numerous books, plays, and films, including Shakespeare's works and modern television series, cementing his place in popular culture. The impact on the English nobility during Henry VIII's reign was profound. Nobles were often caught in the crossfire of his political and religious reforms. His dissolution of the monasteries redistributed land, altering the power dynamics among the aristocracy and increasing the crown's influence, often at the expense of traditional noble authority. Henry VIII's children each left their mark on England, continuing his legacy in different ways. Edward VI furthered Protestant reforms, Mary Warre attempted to restore Catholicism, and Elizabeth I solidified the Church of England's establishment. Their reigns reflected and extended the religious and political transformations initiated by their father. Thomas Cromwell played a pivotal role in Henry VIII's government, orchestrating many of the king's policies. As a chief minister, Cromwell was instrumental in the dissolution of the monasteries, which significantly increased the crown's wealth and power. His administrative reforms modernized the English government, centralizing authority and improving efficiency. The execution of Thomas More marked a dark chapter in Henry VIII's reign. More, a devout Catholic and former Lord Chancellor, refused to acknowledge the king's supremacy over the Church in England. His steadfast principles led to his imprisonment and eventual execution, symbolizing the severe consequences of opposing the monarch's religious reforms. The Act of Supremacy was a landmark in English history, declaring Henry VIII the supreme head of the Church of England. This legislative move effectively severed ties with the Catholic Church, granting the king unprecedented religious authority. It laid the foundation for the English Reformation and reshaped the nation's religious landscape. The Six Articles, enacted in 1539, were a conservative response to the Reformation's radical changes. These statutes reaffirmed traditional Catholic doctrines, such as transubstantiation and clerical celibacy. Henry VIII's endorsement of the Six Articles showcased his desire to maintain certain Catholic elements, despite his break from Rome and establishment of a separate church. Henry VIII's influence on British culture extended beyond politics and religion. His reign saw significant developments in art, music, and literature, often patronized by the king himself. The Tudor court became a vibrant center of cultural activity, fostering a uniquely English Renaissance that left a lasting impression on the nation's artistic heritage. The Tudor court under Henry VIII was a hub of political intrigue, cultural patronage, and lavish entertainment. It was a place where courtiers vied for the king's favor, and artists and musicians thrived. Henry's court set the tone for a new era of Renaissance splendor in England. Henry VIII's architectural projects were ambitious, reflecting his desire for grandeur and permanence. He expanded and renovated palaces like Hampton Court and Whitehall, showcasing his power and wealth. These projects not only provided luxurious settings for his court, but also left an enduring legacy in English architecture. The succession crisis loomed large as Henry VIII neared the end of his reign. With only one male heir, Edward VI, the question of who would succeed him created significant tension. The uncertainty of the future monarchy was a pressing concern for the king and his advisors. Henry VIII's death in 1547 marked the end of an era. He was buried in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, leaving behind a complex legacy. His reign had transformed England politically, religiously, and culturally, setting the stage for future monarchs and shaping the nation's history. Henry VIII's lasting impact on England is profound. His break from the Catholic Church and establishment of the Church of England altered the religious landscape. His reign saw significant political and cultural changes, laying the groundwork for the Elizabethan era and the future of the British monarchy.